Hi, I'm Zebra VI, and I'll show tips and tricks for making your reports and dashboards in Excel actionable. Now, how do your reports in Excel look like today? Do you still report in tables with neatly aligned columns and rows, full of numbers, maybe highlighted with some conditional formatting or, using different colors? Or have you already started including some charts like pie charts and other types of charts that are available in Excel? Or are you already doing fully interactive uh, Excel dashboards with lots of charts and slicers all connected to pivot tables? Or maybe you already have very fancy dark themed dashboards that are also completely, of course, interactive and so on, right? The Excel is simply such a flexible tool that you can do anything with it. So, you can report in boring tables, you can have very fancy charts, you can choose any color in this world. You have lots of types of charts available. So it's basically up to you how to use the tool and what do you create and how do you communicate your data to your end users. But the question here is, what is actually effective here? What types of reports and dashboards and data analysis that you're trying to communicate are actually actionable? All right, so how do you test for that? I have a 4-question test for any kind of dashboard or a report in Excel that will help you analyze how efficient your dashboard in Excel is. All right, here we go. This is now just a random sales dashboard that I found on the internet, and it's a sales dashboard presenting, total sales numbers, some total profits, the profit margins here. It contains charts and then a tree map here, and area chart, column chart, bar chart, so different types of charts. Obviously, it's sales data with lots of slicers as well, so it looks quite important data. But how effective is it? Is it actionable? Number one, the first question to ask is, if I'm the manager, the sales manager here, and I get this sales dashboard, I will ask myself a very basic question. Is my sales performance good or bad? Okay, can we actually tell from this dashboard? Is this good or bad, right? I don't know. I mean, I do know that my total sales is 4 million, total profit is 68K, and, my profit margin is 21%. But is this good or bad? How is my sales performance? A very simple question. Well, I don't know. I have no idea. Why not? Because my numbers are not presenting in a context. The whole context of my data is missing. So the 4 million sales, that can be very good if we planned for 2 million, but it's probably bad if our plan was, or a target was 5 million, right? So same for profit margins and same for other things that I see on this dashboard, right? So you need to present your data in a context in order to actually answer even very, very basic questions like, is my sales performance good or bad? And next question, how good, how bad? Are we like 20% below the plan, 10% above the plan? Is our sales, growing for X%, and so on, right? I just don't have this information here. At least it is not presented to me in a very understandable way. Okay, the next question, why? So if we knew that our sales is, I don't know, 8% below the plan, why? Is it because of my product number 10, product 1, product 2? Is it because there's an issue with our online sales, or is it because of one of our wholesalers and so on. So how do I understand this? I mean, I see that there's something very red here, like it's my direct sales, but this is just random color being assigned to a random data category, right? There's no system that would actually guide my visual attention to where my attention actually should be, to where something, either good or bad has actually happened, or something unexpected has happened, So yeah, this dashboard does not answer the questions why, right? And then in the end, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to act upon that, right? So first, I need to understand what is going on with my numbers compared to a certain context, which is, can be a target, benchmark, plan, forecast, competitors, whatever gives that numbers a good comparison, a good benchmark. And then I need to understand that to enough detail that I can actually act upon it, decide on certain, actions, make a decision, act upon it, and then next check whether, we have improved our business or not. Okay, so the data is serious, that we could still afford to just miss the opportunity to present and communicate it clearly and in an actionable way to all the other stakeholders that read reports and dashboards in our company. So this is why at Zebra BI we are trying to spread some best practices, and or at least to the things that we believe are best practices. And this is also why here at Zebra BI we have developed, I think, a great tool that can help you achieve actionable reporting. And the best news for that is that the tool itself is free for personal use. So I will show you right now how you can use it, where you can find it, and how it can help you create much better dashboards in Excel, much better reports in Excel. All right, let's switch over to Excel and get started. Okay, first of all, I need quite a few things. I need to make quite a few things right in order to get my whole dashboard, actionable. First of all, it all starts with good charts that can present data compared to certain, comparisons like plan and so on. So this is why I'll start with my monthly actual data. So this is my monthly sales, and I'll compare this to my plan. All right. And now I will start with the Zebra BI add-in. Okay, Zebra BI actually consists of two add-ins. We call them visuals, two visuals. The first one is called Zebra BI charts for Office, and the second one is Zebra BI tables for Office. Why Office? Because it actually works not only in Excel, it also works in PowerPoint. We'll get to that later. So let's start by creating a few charts. Click from, select the data, click, and voila, what I've got my add-in that was inserted from Microsoft Office Marketplace. And yeah, as you can see here, you can simply continue with a free license. You click and that's it, right? So it is free for personal use. So make sure you explore those visuals, what they will do for you. First of all, I have my monthly values here. What the Zebra BI add-in has done, actually, it has calculated the totals here. So I understand, all right, my total plan. All right, this is a plan. So let me just correct one thing here. So as you see here, Zebra BI has several buckets. It actually understands the typical business scenarios like plan, actual, previous year, forecast. You can add comments to it as well. So you just move your data around, and then you will get a notation. So the colors and shapes will change, and they will change according to the IBCS standard. This stands for International Business Communication Standards. So it's a standard that Zebra BI fully supports by default. Okay, so now I understand this is my plan. It's 8.1 million. However, these are my actuals. This is my actual sales, 8.6 million, which is exactly 5.9%. Okay, so Zebra BI calculated, the variance from the plan, and it's here 5.9%. If I just click on this number, I will get the absolute value. So the absolute variance, so 481K. Click once more, you can get the absolute and the relative numbers. These visuals, as you can see, are completely interactive, which means that, you can just click here to cut the axis to make sure that the variance is better. As you can see also, Zebra BI calculates those variances. So for each month, I get the actual versus plan variance calculated here and also displayed here in a very clear visual way, so that I understand, okay, in my January, I was actually 42.6% above the plan, which is great. But then, here in the summer month, things were not so great. Okay, minus 17% in June and so on, but now it's picking up. And in the end, we arrived at a very good result after all, right? So these are the things that are calculated out of the box. This is not just one chart, okay? What we have done at Zebra BI, we have packed all the chart types that a typical business analyst, business user will need. And we have made it extremely simple to flip between the charts. So you simply click on this so-called chart slider, and it's like it's as easy as looking at your pictures on your mobile phone, right? So this is the next chart type that you can use in Zebra BI. We call it the integrated variance chart. So I understand, okay, my sales in January was 666K, and that's actually plus 199K on top of my plan. Again, that's 40% growth and so on. And you see the other numbers. The good thing about the Zebra BI charts is that if you make the chart smaller, okay, if you don't have enough space, so maybe you just need a very, very compact small chart for your dashboard, you make it small, and then maybe, you change few things to percent, make it, clean and so on. Even on this small real estate of your screen, you'll get the key information. But then if you decide for a better chart, for a larger chart, if you do have more space, right, you don't just get a bigger chart, right? You get additional information that is valuable for the users, right? So now you have the relative variances and absolute variances, and then if you make it even bigger, everything will be presented like my actual, the plan is behind it, this is my absolute variance here and the relative variance here. So this is responsive behavior of the Zebra BI visuals, which is again completely out of the box. Of course, we also have area charts. Also here you can, have zero-based charts, which is more correct. But if you need to see more details, you can simply click to cut the axis. We have line charts and waterfall charts and so on. All right. So so the first thing is, just use better charts. Maybe tip number 2 would be something like this. When you prepare your data for charts in Excel, okay, I always recommend using Excel tables. Okay, so just instead of having cell ranges like that, just simply convert your data to an Excel table. The shortest way, the easiest way to do this in Excel is just pressing Control and T. So Control and T will present this little dialog. Make sure that you have your headers here, which is good. And once you do this, now your data resides in an Excel table, and this will be much more interactive. You can shrink your data range, or you can extend your data range, or you can even add more columns in a very flexible way. Let's say that I want to explain what's happened here in June, right? What I'll do is I'll just type my comments. All right, I'll add my column. No clicks at all. I just prepare my data, right? Columns, and now I'll just, so this is June, 17%, and you type your comment here, something about the failure in June, what went wrong, you type it in, press enter, and it's adding text boxes and stuff like that. It's all integrated in the same visual. So it would be my next tip, right? Add your comments, add your commentary to your charts. It will make it actionable if somebody actually knows what went wrong here or what was great here, and will actually type this in, type additional information that is just not in the numbers. Okay, so make sure you use comments and add those comments. All right, so let's try a couple more examples. The next tip that I can give you is include forecasts into your reports and dashboards. Okay, because everywhere I see the same patterns. All the reports, the analysis, the dashboards, they always present the data for the past. So it's like driving a car and looking at the back mirror, the rear view, just looking into your past, while you should be looking, in front through the windshield into the future. Okay, and this is a huge problem in reporting everywhere with all the BI tools and all. We simply look at the past. So, for example, if today was September, or if today was October, right, we would typically have a report for the year-to-date. So we would have all the data from January to September, and we would then establish, okay, the situation is like this, right? What going to happen for the rest of the year? Okay. Why? Maybe you have a forecast for that. Okay, maybe you can craft an outline or create a forecast. And this is why, again, the Zebra BI product can help you, because it can present very clearly line here between September and October, and then Zebra BI will actually figure out how much data do we have, and then it will actually determine that your actual data, let's say this is sales or costs or whatever, or your EBITDA, is only present up until September. But then for the rest of the year, of course, you don't have this data yet. However, you do have the forecast. Okay, so then Zebra BI is smart enough to detect this situation from your data, and it'll present the forecast for the rest of the year. And again, this will work for any type of chart. So even if you slide to the next one, you'll have the columns presenting the forecasts until the end of the year, and also all the other charts will work. Okay, so include forecasts. Now, a couple of words about the tables. Okay. Let me just create a simple table in Excel. So this time I'll use our second add-in. Okay, now what I have here, continue with the free license. So I have my sales and I have my plan here. All right, again, let me just take the plan and move it into the plan bucket. All right, this is more correct now. And yeah, what we see here now, I have my sales. This is my sales data. It is sorted by default. So I understand that my baby care is my #1 business unit, and so on. This is now my and again, Zebra BI has calculated the variance between actual and plan. So not only did I understand that baby care is my biggest business unit with 5.1, 5.7, 5.1 million, right? But compared to its plan, it's actually below the plan, which is not good. Okay, and then we have another one here, which is even more below the plan. All right, so now I'm doing an analysis, and it was just simply one click, and all these things are here. You can sort. If you need another analysis, you want to sort by the variance, you can simply click here to sort by, the delta plan, or sort by the relative variance to plan, okay, like that. So it's simple one-click behavior here. You can rearrange the columns around. You can, for every column, you can decide whether to show a chart or as numbers, or even as a more advanced chart like a vertical waterfall chart. Of course, you can then add things like additional you can just show additional things like I can add a grand total like that would be great, right? Even though you don't have it in your data, you simply click just tick the tick box, and that's it. All right, and if this would be costs, for example, right? If this would be costs, and then you would go above your budget with your cost, then you need to actually invert the colors, okay? And so this would be a better presenting costs, expenses, like that. Okay, so you'll find a lot of helpful settings here. Of course, you can also completely customize all the colors. So for example, maybe light blue versus dark red is actually better for that. So you can just simply adjust that. You can make sure to align all your charts with your corporate branding. I don't know if you're using dark blue or something like that. So everything, of course, is completely customizable. All right. Again, with the tables, you can present with the Zebra BI tables. You can present much more complex scenarios. So of course, you can have multiple columns. You can simply have your actuals, your plan, and your forecast, and then additional measures, shares, portfolio shares, and so on. And again, include your comments. So simply add another column with, type in the text, or let, of course, other people type in those comments in the right row. And here you will have nice explanations why, something has happened. And this now is a much more actionable report. And also, it shows maybe another thing, or another tip from our side, right? It's about merging the worlds of charts and tables. Okay, actually, the best way is to combine them together, to embed charts into tables. This is not necessarily a completely separate world of tables versus charts. The best and the most efficient reports actually combine tables with charts. So you can have certain columns, numeric, and then you have certain other columns presented visually. And the Zebra BI tables add-in simply gives you all this flexibility to choose what is actually important to visualize, and then add numeric information and add comments to achieve great reports. And of course, everything is very flexible. As you will see, you don't need any kind of training for that. Everybody can resize things, reshuffle things. You'll find additional settings once you play around with it, to change certain information, change the types of icons and all this stuff to make sure that it matches your best idea of reports. And maybe to close, to finish this part, there are situations in reporting where you need more power and where you need to present things in a way that is simply more flexible, that more flexible than your data structures will allow. So for example, my product revenue, service and other revenue. So I have certain types of revenue and I have some costs, and then I have the gross profit here, and so on and so on and so on. And now in my report, you see how nice it looks. Okay, so now I fully understand my P&L or my income statement, right? I understand that this is my product revenue and then another type of revenue. So it's just adding up to my total revenue, right? Costs should not be stacked on top of that. So the costs are not adding to my revenue, right? They should be subtracted from my revenue. So even if you have data like this, we have handy functions. You see, this is already inverted. Without this, a normal waterfall chart would just stack the floating elements one on top of another, right? But here in Zebra BI, you can simply right click and invert this element. And of course, then the costs will be subtracted from the revenue, and then you'll arrive at the gross margin. And then you mark this margin as your next result, right? So otherwise, again, it would be floating, but this column, you simply say, okay, this is actually my next result. Okay, and now the next row is very interesting because what is this? It's gross margin in percent, okay? And this data is not even in my data source, okay? So how did I bring it into my P&L statement here? Well, I have added it directly inside the Zebra BI tables. All right, so let me show this to you. I'll just add this and let me first delete it. Okay, so this was the situation when I started, and now I have the gross margin and so on, and I want to calculate the gross margin percent, basically as a percent of my revenue. Okay, so right click and add formula. Okay, we have our own formula editor inside the tables visual, so I can simply add quick calculations like gross margin percent, and I'll say, all right, this should be my gross margin. As you see, we have this autocomplete. Simply select this. Well, I just need to divide it with my revenue, my total revenue, okay, and format it as a percentage, right? This is not in millions or something, so I just click here for my percentage. One decimal place, that's okay. You can make it bold, italic. Again, you can choose a completely different font color like that. And once you're done, you just add this calculation, this formula to your table as a new row, okay? And now, as you see here, I have my percent. It is formatted as a percentage already here, as opposed to all the other numbers that are in millions, right? And I understand, all right, the last year, we had 67.6% gross margin. This year, it's actually 64.2%, right? And that's actually minus 3.4 percentage points. So Zebra BI even understands that, a difference between two percentages is a percentage point. Of course, you can change those units. You can display this in BPS instead of percentage points, and choose different labels and stuff like that. It's completely flexible. So with this, you now have visuals, add-ins that can present, more actionable charts for your trend. So basically time series charts, or even very complex data sets like income statements and so on. And you have a lot of flexibility to work with those charts, add certain calculations, design them, add comments, and so on, and then use this as your reports that you then refresh, or even better, add them to your create them from your pivot tables. All right, this is also a very interesting way. So if you have a pivot table. Zebra BI visuals will work from pivot tables and will completely adapt to your pivot table. So let me show my field list for this pivot table, and let's do something. Let's say let's throw this out. Okay, so now I have a very simple pivot table. Okay, just maybe I can do it from the start so that you'll understand. Okay, so now I have created a Zebra BI chart directly from my pivot table. Okay, so now it's linked to my pivot table. Of course, you know, just to slice the data, of course, the chart will work completely interactively. Okay, but now if I break this pivot table down and I add some more data elements to it, like we had, I think we had the group here. So I'll just use another pivot table field, another field, and I'll put it in boom. So now I have all of my business units in my pivot table. It has updated the view and has rendered all of my business units here on the visual. So, okay, now understand that I have, you know, 6 business units. You know, I can rearrange this. It's a nice 3x2 matrix, and you know, I can do everything else. I can view this with different types of charts, like area charts, line charts, and so on. And yeah, it's completely flexible and works with pivot tables. And this works not just with Excel pivot tables, it also works with pivot tables created from Power BI data sets. So, you know, if you're also using Power BI in your company and you already have clean data sets in Power BI, then I absolutely recommend that you use the pivot tables, create them from your Power BI. Okay, because then your data is safe and governed, you know, in Power BI, but then you can simply reuse the same data sets in Excel, which is by far the best practice when working, you know, with Excel along with Power BI. It's much better than exporting data from Power BI and then importing it back to Excel, because that leads inevitably to manual errors and you know, manual work, outdated data, you know, in a while, and errors and copies of files and so on, and multiple versions of truth, and it's a mess, right? So use pivot tables from Power BI data sets, because then you simply refresh the pivot table and it will show the new state, you know, next month, next day, and so on. All right, this concludes my presentation of Zebra BI for Excel. I will PowerPoint, not just in Excel. So let's say I forgot to include my a couple of slides in my presentation for my meeting. I just add a slide. Okay, it has this nice background from Global Excel Summit. Okay, but what I want to do now is I want to insert another chart, and I'll use the Zebra BI charts for Office. Okay, and let's create a chart. Again, this works. It's again free for personal use in PowerPoint, but what you get now is the so-called chart chooser. So you'll see that we have a ton of different types of charts. But again, this is not a static chart. This is again a completely responsive and interactive chart in PowerPoint this time. Okay, and you can simply change the data here, either, you know, type it here, copy it from your Excel. In the next version, we are also bringing linking, so you'll be able to link the data to your Excel files in one of the next versions. So just, you know, then change your data or add a comment here. Let's do this for December, see what happens. Voila, another comment here, and you then simply go. Even in the presenting mode, you can show the charts in an interactive way, so you can, you know, have a nice presentation nice visual storytelling included in your PowerPoint presentations. All right, so thank you so much for your attention. Once more, go to your Excel and include Zebra BI add-ins to your Excel reports and so on. So let me just show you how you do it. It's in your Excel right now because it's in the Microsoft App Source. So it's very simple. You simply go and add. Sorry, my internet is completely slow right now. Okay, we're in the store right now. So you just go in the Office store and search for Zebra. That's it. So just type in Zebra, press enter, and you'll find both visuals, Zebra BI charts for Office, Zebra BI tables for Office. Just click add, and from now on, they will be an integral part of your Excel. And I hope, they will make your reports, your dashboards, your analysis in Excel and in PowerPoint much better and much more actionable. Thank you so much.